On this day, 75 years ago, American forces launched an all-out assault on the Japanese island of Iwo Jima. It was one of the bloodiest battles in the Pacific theater, and today, two men spoke about what it was like for those who were there and what it means for those who followed them. KPIX 5's John Ramos has the story.
75 years ago, a young Navy signalman stationed aboard the USS Hornet was transferred to a destroyer in the South Pacific. That's when he played his part in history. Ralph Ivar Bertelsen of Alameda was only 17 years old and had all of 6 months of signal training when he arrived aboard the destroyer, the USS Moore.
The next day, they invaded Iwo Jima. We were in close to the beach retrieving pilots that had been shot down.
The fighting was savage as the Marines struggled to get a foothold on the rocky island. Ralph spent 3 days signaling other ships as they pulled pilots from the sea and didn't even notice that equipment right above his head had been hit and damaged.
I can see the place up there on the top, and there were people up there with rifles shooting at us.
The place up there was Mount Suribachi. The Japanese were dug in and determined to fight to the death. The battle lasted for 36 days.
The people that were there had to be devoted to what they were doing for their country. You know, it was an all-out effort by really both sides, the Japanese and the Americans.
When the Marines finally captured the mountaintop and planted the flag, the iconic photo was taken that has become a solemn symbol of the Marine Corps ever since. Joe Laparo served in the Corps at the end of Vietnam, but has a hard time finding the words to describe the sacrifice of the nearly 7,000 who died at Iwo Jima.
When people say, thank you for being a veteran, I say, if you truly want to thank a veteran, be the kind of American that's worth dying for, because those are the guys that deserve it.
In many ways, Iwo Jima was a turning point in the war in the Pacific and provided one of the most recognizable images of the greatest generation. Most of those who hit the beaches and have survived to this day have been invited to Washington to be part of a week-long series of ceremonies commemorating the anniversary. In Alameda, John Ramos, KPIX 5.
And that young signalman stayed in the military, serving in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, retiring after 30 years of service as a full commander in the U.S. Navy.